Why am I tired all the time is probably one of the most frequently asked questions in menopause. But did you know that more sleep is not always the answer? So menopause fatigue or perimenopause fatigue is more than just tiredness. It's a deep, full body exhaustion that can leave you physically depleted, mentally worn out, and emotionally run down. So if you've been feeling completely wiped out, even after a full night's sleep, and you're dragging yourself through the day, wondering why your energy levels are so low and your motivation has gone, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you what actually is happening in your body, why it gets worse during menopause, and what kind of rest you actually need. My name's Julianne Garrido. I am a menopause coach and yoga expert, and welcome to my channel. Let's dive on in. So let's start by looking at what actually is menopause fatigue, right? So it's not just tiredness, it's a complete energy crash of mind, body, emotions. You might feel heavy, sluggish, no motivation to do anything, mentally foggy, unable to focus, tearful or emotionally sensitive, we've all been there, and exhausted during the day, but then unable to sleep at night. And often this is because our nervous system becomes stuck in fight or flight mode, or even freeze mode. Your body shuts down all the non-essential functions to conserve your energy, like digestion, sleep, deep rest, and emotional regulation. None of this is laziness. This is your body crying out for support. So why does it get worse in menopause? Well, it can actually start in perimenopause, and it can be perimenopause fatigue, and it can creep up unnoticed, and that's because the two main hormones, estrogen and progesterone, they actually do so much more than just regulate your cycle. They influence sleep rhythms, for example, how we respond to stress, our moods and emotions, and motivation, and think about blood sugar regulation, right? The highs, the lows, and even affects how our cells produce energy. All these hormones are in decline, so too is our resilience, right? That means the crashes and the lows go deeper and they can come faster. Let me ask you this, have you noticed any of this happening to you? If so, drop me a comment, share it with me, let me know how you're dealing with your menopause or perimenopause fatigue. So I hear from women all the time, I'm getting older, surely this is all just part of aging. And the answer is yes and no, because aging naturally lowers energy over time, whereas in menopause there's this kind of added layer of hormonal intensity that really ramps up the fatigue. But the good news is it's not permanent and you can do something about it. But I just want to touch on adrenal fatigue, right? Because in menopause, with the loss of estrogen, the body naturally turns to the adrenals for a little bit of backup support. But the thing is, if they're already overworked over time from years of stress and struggling and not sleeping and so on, right, they can't provide that backup, right? You are wired but tired, you're flat when you need to function, and this leads to serious adrenal dysfunction or adrenal fatigue. And if that's the case, it might be worthwhile having some tests and seeing your doctor. Also the health of our thyroid glands, yeah? So if your fatigue feels extreme, constant, or just not right, get your thyroid levels tested. Thyroid issues are very, very common in midlife and can mimic or worsen menopause fatigue. So assuming it's not adrenal fatigue or a thyroid problem, many of us arrive in menopause after years, decades, pushing through, struggling with work, family, caregiving, and constant responsibility. And menopause kind of comes along and shines a magnifying glass over everything and really shows up the cracks in the foundation. This is what happened to me. And the depletion that your body has been carrying for years really, really shows up. And it's tempting when we feel empty to reach for quick fixes like caffeine, sugar, or an intense workout to give us more energy. And sure, they might help in the moment, but they also rob you of tomorrow's energy. And over time, you're just going to crash harder and recover more slowly. Your body doesn't need more stimulation. Your body doesn't need more sleep, chances are, right? It actually needs more rest. So let's take a look at the rest that you actually need. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would be very grateful, and you don't miss out on future videos coming your way all about menopause. So let's look at what you can actually do to support your energy levels, because often getting more sleep isn't enough. And I'm going to look at 5 types of rest, right? Because rest doesn't just mean lying down, sleeping. There are different kinds of rest for different kinds of tiredness, okay? So the first one we're going to consider is physical rest. And I think that's probably the most obvious. But it can include passive rest and it can include active rest, like maybe gently stretching the body in a restorative way. So if you've never heard of restorative yoga, you need to make this your best friend. It's a very soothing, calming practice that involves no movement, and you're using props to support your body in such a way that the nervous system can just let go and relax, and the body resets. You can play soft music, light some candles, and make it really indulgent. But we also have yin yoga, and again, no movement, but it involves long held stretches. So there's a little bit more doing, and these target connective tissues, and again can be very soothing and restorative physically and mentally. But Yoga Nidra is my personal favorite, and this is what we do when we want to really take our brainwaves into a deep, deep state of rest, right? It's not only restful for the body, it's restful for the mind too, and all you have to do is lie still and simply listen to a guided meditation that will take you through the various stages of Yoga Nidra, okay? So honestly, it's my go-to and it works every time. My body feels rested and my mind feels completely clear. But I hear from ladies all the time that they simply don't have time to rest. So what do you do then? 10-minute walk, right? Works a treat, out in nature, fresh air, or 10 minutes with your legs up against the wall. Calms the mind, slows down the heart rate, and is deeply nourishing for the body. So don't feel you have to look for that 30 minutes. I don't have time. It could be 10 minutes, little short pauses throughout the day or the evening. So the second type of rest is mental rest that you need to consider. So we live in a very fast-paced world, and we're constantly bombarded with news, messages, social media. So taking time to take a break from screens is so healthy. Either just a few minutes during the day or a certain day of the week, take a complete break. And even consider scheduling pauses into your day where you just step away from the screen. Restorative yoga and yin yoga also help to calm the mind, but Yoga Nidra really is so beneficial for our mental state because it takes the brain waves into deep, slower states and really helps you to reset the nervous system. And you don't have anything to do to enjoy it, you just listen to a meditation. And then there's just listening to a regular meditation, right? But if you're too busy to sit still, or you can't sit still and you can't switch your mind off, choose a guided meditation that will help take you on a little journey. I have lots of 5-minute meditations on my app, which the women really enjoy because 5 minutes doesn't take a lot of time, but it can be very, very effective. The third type of rest is emotional rest. And this is finding space to actually feel your feelings without having to fix or manage them when it's gone too wrong. Journaling is especially effective. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, writing down how you feel. It helps you spot those patterns and triggers. Maybe it's around people, places, or specific events. And also give yourself permission to have a good boo-hoo, to let it all out, or to feel without being judged. Yeah, it's also very deeply healing. You know, your body's going through a lot at this time, and it's good to share the mental load with someone, so maybe confiding in someone you're close to will help. Again, yoga nidra, restorative yoga, really beneficial. But I want to touch on yin yoga, and that's the one where we do the long holds. And you're actually in that hold, you're not doing anything, but you're in a particular pose and you're releasing tension from the body in specific areas. And women actually carry a lot of tension in their hips, and it can be an emotional release when we do this. So a great one to factor into your practice. So number 4 is sensory rest, and it took me a long time to realize I actually need this because we're overstimulated all day by screens and lights and noise and notifications. So I want you to try dimming the lights in the evening or during the day, wearing an eye mask when you do rest, just to block out the light and kind of like go within. Sitting in silence for a few minutes, closing your eyes, or maybe resting in a quiet, dark, screen-free place is also really, really helpful. And we also I have on my app guided meditations that actually tap into the senses. Yeah, so rather than turning away from them, turning into them and relaxing the nervous system as you do. So lastly, I think this could actually be the most important, and that's social rest, you know, and sometimes it means stepping away from social situations and particular people, not out of avoidance, but because the constant interaction and keeping up becomes draining when we're fatigued. And we often talk about the fight or flight mode, but the reality is there's actually a fawn mode as well. And it's a people-pleasing mode where we're constantly saying yes and trying to fit in. And, you know, women carry a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. And, you know, it's important to be able to step away. And it could be 10 minutes reading, just sitting, reading, having some quiet time and saying no to something that you should have attended or taken part in. Yeah, so saying no to draining people, draining situations, and spending more time with the people where you can really be yourself and you can actually say, hey, I'm having an off day and, you know, I'm really feeling fatigued, so I'm just going to sit quietly. So social rest, don't underestimate the benefits of it. Learn to say no. So as you probably gathered by now, menopause fatigue is not about simply getting more sleep. Of course, that helps, right? It's about identifying the kind of rest that you need on any given day and that your body is asking for. And some days that might be physical, right? But it could be mental or emotional, or it could be sensory time out, or simply, you know, one day a week off from social activities. Right? It's important to remember that you're not broken and you are not weak and you are certainly not lazy. You're tired, deeply tired, and your body is actually wise enough to be giving you the signals, so you need to slow down. So which types of rest do you need most right now? Let me know, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and if I can help in any way. And if you're ready to try something immediately helpful, check out the next video. It's my Yoga Nidra, especially for menopause fatigue. Beautiful guided meditation that will help your body deeply relax. You'll help your mind switch off and give your emotional system a gentle reset. You don't need to push through, you need to replenish, and you absolutely deserve to feel well again. I'll see you again soon. Namaste.